Finance Bill 2024. The taxes are one of the ways of generating revenue, but this is a twofold tool that can also be used to provide investment incentives. President William Ruto have maintained that we will do fiscal consolidation, simply explained in layman's language as living within our means. Today in this podcast, I want us to break it down, the numbers that really matter, the confusion within Kenya Kwanza administration as different leaders that speak to this speak different language. My name is Kevin Oduor and I'm joined by...
My name is Frank. Welcome to our podcast.
Frank, you and I know very well that the finance bill is a very contentious issue. And this is the point where I see total mix-up, because the chairperson of Finance Committee, Molo MP, Kuria Kimani, the chairperson, while appearing in a television interview with Citizen TV, seemed to be insinuating that the reason why we are introducing a 16% VAT on bread is because we want to control consumption of bread. And what I'm talking about is about 16% VAT on bread. I want us to listen to Kuria.
But first of all, please tell me, what is the justification of raising the VAT on bread from 0 to 16%?
Mm-hmm. We had a very long conversation with the Long Treasury, with the National Treasury, on this VAT on fuel. The initial thinking was maybe the bread has there's a concern about diabetes and all that, but the arguments that we're receiving from Kenyans is bread is not a luxury good. Bread is something that people have every morning for breakfast, every time, and it's taken by across the people. So that's why I said, Sam, all these are proposals.
Sorry, you're saying that the concern is that there's a lot of diabetes in the country.
That is the argument that was given by National Treasury.
So there's a study showing that it's coming from bread.
I'm not from National Treasury, Sam. I'm saying we are listening, and I really want, and this is the message I really want to pass today to Kenyans, that we have received this proposal.
This comes even when the majority leader Ichun'gwa, while speaking on KTN News, put up a strong defense that bread and milk are only consumed by the Wadosis. And that is why they are introducing this VAT, such that they will not be targeting the common man, but rather targeting the Wadosis within our community. This is the video of Ichun'gwa speaking.
I've only heard about that from the media.
No, the president...
I never had any, and I've not seen any official communication, so I would rather not comment on what I hear on the media. But I'll give you my personal view on it, on the tax on bread.
Yes.
And it's my own personal view. It doesn't have to be any other person's position other than my own. If you look at our tax expenditure, Ken, and this is empirical evidence that is there from KRA, our tax expenditure in this country is so high, principally because of two products. And tax expenditure, I mean, like for VAT, the amount of money government pays out to traders, not to you and me as a consumer.
To traders.
To traders. To the people who manufacture bread, people who manufacture or who process milk. Milk and bread are the two products that have the highest tax expenditure.
And they're
95% of tax refunds on VAT
goes to bread and milk.
Goes to bread and milk.
But they are also the highest consumed in the country. That's everyone's breakfast.
You and me buy milk,
yes,
and bread from the supermarket next to your house or somewhere. Your mother in the village and my mother in the village. I don't think my mother buys bread. Whenever I visit her house, I find her with ngwashe and domas. And I'm certain at times when I go to her house, I have tea and a slice of ugali. We are basically subsidizing life for the middle class, well-to-do Kenyans. And I told you that's my own personal view because I belong to that class of Kenyans, that middle class. And we are getting tax refunds on consumables or consumer items that are being consumed by the middle class Kenyans at the expense of the poor folk up country who have their breakfast of tea, ndoma and guashe and ugali, who buy milk from their next door neighbor.
Or milk from their gardens.
Or milk from their farm. It's me and you who buy processed milk.
No.
And Kevin,
Yes.
there is something that has been troubling me with this Finance Bill 2024 and the defense by the various MPs. It only seems that it is leaders from the Mount Kenya region that are coming out to defend this bill. I don't want to sound tribal, but then my question is, where are their counterparts from the Rift Valley or even other parts of the country that are within the Kenya Kwanza administration?
Yeah, I think quite a number of us have raised that question, but you'll realize that seems everything was designed. Because if you look at the majority leader is Kikuyu, if you look at the finance CS is Njuguna Ndungu from Murang'a, Kikuyu. If you look at David Ndi comes from the Gema region, and the finance committee, and even the head of budget, Dendi Nyoro. So probably I realized that Ruto administration fashioned their finance dockets to be held by mostly the people from the Gema nation.
From the Gema.
However, I also realized that in Azimio la Umoja, I saw the Nyando MP, Jared Okello, coming out to speak about this factor. So even if the mere fact that most of those people come from Kikuyu Nation, but I believe even in Senate, there is Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheriot, who can also speak to the heart of this. But it also points to two things. Maybe Gema Nation is well entrenched in government, or number two, it is designed so that they become the mouthpiece. But just before we go there, I just want to draw your attention to something here. I've listened to the video by Kimani Ichun'gwa. Is it really true that bread and milk is only consumed by Wadosis?
I feel that the argument by Kimani Ichun'gwa, they're just now trying to throw pieces in here and there to appear to the common man that, no, you know, we are not targeting you, the hustler, but we are targeting the people within the high levels of the society. This is something that it doesn't make any sense, because these things, even if it is to be said, the person who feels the most pain when the VAT are introduced on these products is the consumer at the lower level of the food chain. So this is an argument that I don't think if it augurs well anyhow and doesn't make any sense at all.
Because if you walk to a supermarket, you'll find milk being sold as little as 30 shillings.
As 30 shillings.
The packaged milk.
Yes.
So this you cannot really single out and say milk is for doses.
You can't do that.
And so I think it's just a narrative being coined. But don't you see the confusion? Because Kimani Kuria, while in Citizen, is saying this thing is about diabetes. Last year when we introduced some 5% I think tax on sugar, we talked about diabetes. Today again we are talking about bread, we are talking about diabetes. There seems not to be clear position on this matter.
It's just something that they want to hoodwink with the majority. They're just throwing tantrums here and there, so that the common man that elected this government into office that does not look that is the one being targeted here. So people tend to associate things with health. So when they say it's diabetes, now the common masses will say that after all, they're helping us now to reduce this. And you even see this in form of companies advertising. For example, if we are advertising a mouthwash substance, we'll always put the health positives of using this. So health is something that has been used adversely or not in the right manner when bringing on such debates around the critical issues of national importance.
Before we close that debate on the bread tax, I will want the Kenyans maybe to understand something, because there have been so much jargons being thrown here about zero rated and 16% VAT. What's happening here is the bread and milk is one of the most consumed products. I think that one, we, according to what Kimani Ichun'gwa said, in KTN, it's one of the most consumed products. So what used to happen here is government pay VAT tax refund for those raw materials used to bake bread. So what they want to say is they want to withdraw that so that the 16% the tax refund that government pays will be translated to the consumer.
Yes.
And so the resultant effect is that the price of milk and bread will go high. Because I saw someone saying, even with that tax proposal, the prices is not going to go high. But if the costs are going to be transferred to the consumer, then the prices are going to be high.
Yes, and the pinch and pain will be felt by you and me.
Let's look at this. The motor vehicle circulation tax. And what the budget framers are saying, that 2.5% will be taxed from vehicle owners, both private, public, so long as you own any vehicle.
Anything called a motor vehicle.
And it is capped at 5,000 to 100,000. Because they're saying those who have high-end cars might end up paying so much. Then they're aimed at collecting 58.2 billion from this. Now, the cost of importing vehicle in this country comes at a duty cost. And after importing that vehicle here, you have to pay fuel maintenance levy. And there are other costs that are actually this. And fuel maintenance levy, they're saying is 18 shillings per liter that you buy. Now, Frank, don't you think this is a bit unfair when you're talking about the fact that you are taxing? What exactly are you taxing?
No. You know, to get this, maybe to the common man to get this clearly, when they say that they are going to tax 2.5% on your insurance, but it's now based on the value of your car. So what this translates in simple mathematics is that if you own a car that is 200,000, then you calculate 2.5% of 200,000, then you get 5,000. If you own a car that costs 4 million, you calculate 2.5% of 4 million, that is 100,000. So within this bracket, it means that the only way that you will escape this is if you buy a car that its value is less than 200,000. And this now targets the common man again, or the, I don't know whether to call it the middle class, but it's the lower middle class, because for them, the people in the political class, their machines are way above 4 million Kenya shillings. So you see, the ripple effect is still on you.
Actually, the machines is at 8 million.
Yes,
they drive
yes.
big guzzlers.
They drive really big guzzlers. So it still comes down to you. That is the real implication of this.
But did you find out how the Mbeere North, Ruku's, this hilarious statement he made in Citizen? Let's listen to that.
Okay, motor vehicle tax, it is not new, you say. It has happened in the US. So why is it good for Kenya?
Sir, motor vehicle is not a day-to-day consumption for all Kenyans.
What?
And number two, if the motor vehicles are used as capital for generating income, if we are taxing elements which are generating income, which can be able to repay themselves, then there's a room for discussion. There's a room for discussion as far as that is concerned.
Mheshimiwa Ruko, you got here. How did you get here? You drove or?
Yes, I drove.
You generated income?
Some are being paid by Kenyans, isn't it? I've been paid by Kenyans.
To drive?
No. I've been paid. Probably I have some other businesses. Probably I have some other business from here. Probably I'll go to one of my business in town, or I'll be able to check other businesses around. I will drive there. But what you're saying is, anything that is producing or generating income need to be taxed.
What?
Consumption.
So you want to tax my
consumption for a Kenyan to put food on table. We don't need to tax that. What we need to tax.
Mheshimiwa Ruko, so I have a laptop here.
Yes.
I use it to do my work.
Yes.
I get paid a salary. It is taxed, pay as you earn, and all the other taxes that accrue. You want this tax as well? This is not a business. Is a vehicle a business?
Listen.
Yeah.
We use our vehicles to generate income.
Oh no. How? It's a means of transport, isn't it?
You have a lorry, isn't it?
This is not.
No. I'm giving you an example. You have a lorry which is transporting your potatoes from your farm to the market. That lorry is generating income for you.
But you have income tax that is being taxed, isn't it?
On that potato, you're going to pay tax, the income.
But also, this is a tool. The tool which you are using to do production.
Now, you will realize that even those who are supposed to respond to this are not so much clear on it, because according to what Rukus is saying there, is being asked, are we taxing it as wealth or as capital? And he seems to be saying a lot of blah blah. Not so much clear on what exactly is being taxed here. And so, let me just look at it this way. 2.5% on this. What is the effect on the public transport?
That will have a serious effect on that, because now, if you're taxing me 2.5% based on value of my car that I'm using for public transport, then it means that the ripple effect that it will have now on the common person that is using, now the consumer, I'll have to increase my transport prices. I'll have to hike it so that I'm covered in this way and manner. So that means that the prices of boarding even a matatu from your home area to town will likely go up. Then on the other end also, it means that majority of people are going to, I don't know whether that will likely happen, but even if people will adjust, some will be forced to withdraw their cars from the roads. And even likely, even still further on the transport, it means that most people are now going to escape taking insurance covers. Because the moment you take an insurance cover, that is when now the government gets you.
But you can't drive without an insurance cover.
Now that is where the problem comes. But people drive without insurance. That happens.
But it's corrupt.
It's corruption. So that is the ripple effect that it will now have on the.
In fact, it's a big risk.
Yes, that is. It will now have on the public transport.
And I think much as we look at the public transport, Frank, I listened to what Kimani Kuria was saying, and he was asked this question: what is the rationale? You guys are looking for 58.2 billion from this. Where is this money go to? Can I shock you? He's saying that even now that there are floods, the roads are destroyed. The roads are destroyed. It's not even a laughing matter. The roads are destroyed, so part of this money will go into this. And also, the government had a plan of investing in public transport, the BTR project. So part of this proceed will go there. Wachani Siseme, and he is there. He explained this. And
in Kenya, one of the greatest challenges we've had is that we've not had serious investment on public transport. And that is why all of us feel the need to use our motor vehicles, because movement from one place to another is really chaos. There was a proposal by the last administration to do the BLT project. And hopefully, the project was hoping to attract a public-private investment, which never happened. We have the radio development, the road maintenance development levy that's supposed to go into maintenance of our roads. With now the impact of floods happening in this country, it is quite clear that the money collected on road and maintenance development levy is not going to be sufficient to maintain our roads, and that is really a fact. And I think the other day I had the Cabinet Secretary for Transport saying that we actually need 30 additional billion shillings to repair the roads. So the question that we should ask ourselves, so who should pay for these repairs? On one hand, and that is why last financial year,
you think it should be the people who own motor vehicles?
Let me finish my point, Sam.
Yeah.
Let's just get to understand. That is Kimani Kuria for you. Is it fair?
No, you know, the first question that comes, we pay 18 shillings per litre for the road maintenance levy.
Yes.
Then where is this money? That is the money that should be used to repair the roads that were broken by floods. That is the money that should be used.
And if the roads are broken by floods, the PFM Act have 2% for disaster.
For disaster.
Yeah, 2% of what goes to the county for disaster management. The national government, just during these floods, they set aside 20 billion. And not to believe, amongst the other use for that money was on making this. If there is a disaster, how does it become an exclusive responsibility of car owners?
Of you, the road users, now? Or the car owners, rather?
The car owners to make all the roads around, because our car owners, the only users of the road. Anyway, someone said even our cars are also destroyed, so if it is that.
Yeah.
So let me give you something off the cliff. I read, and I think I saw it in, can't remember, I think it's a US tabloid somewhere, saying that there's a new order of the world to withdraw the cars from the road. And what is the resultant effect? What the country is staring at is there is a bigger goal to this. You see what you're saying about when people see things are now unbearable, they will withdraw their cars from the road. And when they withdraw their cars from the road, or people are, they're dissuaded from buying cars, then what we will see is cars now transport being run as corporations, like what the BTR will be. They will then introduce those electric cars. Remember, we have that. They then introduce those electric cars and bring new corporations that will run public transport because people withdraw their cars from the road. Do you think about that? But
is this really going to be something that is going to be of benefit to us? This is not the first time that we are talking about BRT and the public transport system. You even saw during Moi era, there were Nyayo buses. What is their fate? They ended up being auctioned. Actually, this is a problem that I don't think if this will really solve. What is happening in this case is that we are trying to copy whatever is happening in other countries, and we want to apply it as it is in our country, and it's not going to work for us. UK, I saw someone saying in UK people pay this tax, and someone said in Singapore, even for you to own first, before you even get to buying a car, the cost of even the license is very expensive. I would want our viewers from UK in US, because part of whatever the problem we're having in this country, Frank, let me just be frank with you, is that we are doing a lot of copy pasting from US. What worked somewhere, we want it to work in our case.
We want it to work in our case without looking at the context. So those in UK and US, tell us, if you own a car, how much are you paying? And what I would be interested to know, is there a way that money is directly channeled towards something specific? Like our 2.5 is supposed to be channeled towards BTR project, government invests in public transport and those roads, because they're saying the levy is not enough to maintain the roads. So what exactly are they doing with the other countries that are collecting this money? You really shocked me about phones.
Yeah. There is a debate and a discussion, something called eco levy, environmental levy. Now, with this new Finance Bill 2024, they are proposing that now, if you buy a phone that is a smartphone, a TV, or batteries, you will now be charged something called
for phone.
Yes, something called eco levy, where you'll be now paying between 98 shillings and 1,275 shillings for just the purchase of this. Now, this money they intend to head it or to gear it towards environmental conservation, things like kupanda miti.
But that is patching. We were talking off the camera, and I was telling you, this is just a matter of someone just trying to patch things.
Here and there.
I'm struggling to justify.
Yes, to justify my collection of taxes.
Because we have a plan to plant 15 billion trees.
Which is also unattainable.
It's a pipe dream. And I do believe that when the last tree planting was done, government never provided seedlings.
They told us
to go and buy
our seedlings. Actually promote those who are selling seedlings by the roadside.
You say I have to get something and I buy a phone.
Yes.
Then part of that money goes to environmental conservation.
Yes, it's called eco levy.
No, that is money going to contingency.
You say it's patching.
Just patching so that I justify.
You justify your reason for it.
And have you realized that even as we go through, if you look at these taxes, the biggest problem the administration is facing is how to justify this.
That is the problem.
It's a big problem.
Yes.
Someone is saying diabetes. The other person is saying
wadosi.
The other person is saying people don't consume any bread, so we are paying wadosi. There's a lot of problems
on that. And also, just to shock you still, is that, when this government was voted in, their campaign mantra was, we are a government of the hustlers. We are a government of Mama Mboga. We are a government of Boda Boda. Now, for you to buy a motorcycle now, it will cost you around 130,000 Kenya shillings. That is to import a motorcycle. Now, on top of that, to even shock you more, you'll now be charged an excise duty of about 10%. This will translate to about over 12,000 shillings that will be added on top of that 130,000 shillings.
So, I know the 130,000 shillings is the 125cc motorcycle.
It's capped at 100cc and between
100cc.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and that is the one that the hustlers are using for
they are using for Boda Boda, yes.
If you tax that, then these people will have to increase the cost.
They'll have to increase the cost now.
And not even that, I'm just telling you, there is something very consistent. Look at the 2.5% for the car owner, and then look at this 10%. They are all geared towards removing these two from the road.
From the road.
Because someone will be dissuaded from buying a motorbike if this is it. And remember, this is now. Maybe buy, then next time it's also increased.
It's also increased.
People will really move from the boda space.
Yes, and the question maybe is, the boda guy also has to get insurance. So, does it the 2.5% also?
The boda guy also
they also have to get insurance.
Oh, so the other 2.5 also applies for that?
That is my question now. I don't know.
we should also charge the pedestrian.
Because
not all the cars.
but pedestrians are charged. Because when you increase this excise duty on the cost of purchasing a motorbike or the 2.5% on the value of cars, then it means that for you to actually get the services of these people, you now have to help them raise that.
So it will be transferred to the
ripple effect is still on you. There was also an issue with, I think there is a penalty that they are proposing, that is on KRA. You'll now be charged 2 million penalty fine if you fail to use the ITMS of the KRA.
The ITMS is what the KRA tried to register in Murang'a and they were chased.
Yeah, and they were being chased for the avocado farmers now. Yes. So if you fail to use ITMS, now it will be a law. You'll be charged a penalty fine of 2 million Kenya shillings. That one you'll have to give to KRA.
If you fail to register?
To use the ITMS.
Okay.
Now, it's like you have no alternative but to use the ITMS.
There is no any other alternative?
There is no any other alternative.
But public participation has not been done so well on this.
It has not been done.
The scope of who can be in ITMS is not so clear.
It's not clear.
I was shocked about the KRA getting to private data.
That is I think that is one of the most shocking areas also. Because in the proposals, they are now proposing that for KRA to function effectively, they now have to be given an extra access onto your private data, such that they would be able to actually see how you do even things like your bank transactions, your mobile phone transactions, such that they would know if you are supposed to be in a particular tax age bracket that you're supposed to be targeted, but then you're not remitting the taxes, then they would be actually be able to know. And that is an infringement of people's right to privacy.
But that one is going to net many people.
It is going to really net many people who don't want to maybe pay taxes or they've been evading taxes.
But then, guys, we decided to look at the overhaul of this because I think emphasis has been on the two, the bread and the vehicle. And the reason why we are looking at this other part is there is just a lot. And I think, Frank, the country must just peruse the whole document.
The whole document.
People should not even think that the two are the most lethal ones. Look at this. Digital tax is back again. There was a 5%, last time it was 15, is it 12 or 10% on digital tax?
Yes, on digital tax.
It was not effected. It could not be effected. Now they are saying, I think it has been remodified for content creators and digital assets such as Uber and Jumia. So if you have a software and you're using this software, for example, Uber, the Bolt, the Farans, the Jumia, they have to pay 5%.
5%
tax.
Yes.
Is it annual or monthly?
I don't understand.
I think it's one-off.
One of them.
It's one-off. It could be one-off.
One of them.
Now, if you're paying it one-off, the issue here, the challenge here is, are you going to, what are the incentives for them? And let me just play for you this Harvard student. She asked the president about this digital tax. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember.
Can we get that video? Now, if you listen to what she was asking, that is what I'm talking about. What are the incentives for it? And you could hear the president saying, I've had meetings with Google, Twitter, Facebook, and the whole conundrum. And that's, and he likes using the word conundrum. The whole conundrum in that space. And you will point out and ask, so Twitter is owned by Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
What has Kenya done? What is the incentive why you want that 5%? As we run YouTube, YouTube is owned by US, by the founders in the US.
It's in US.
What has the government done in its space to demand the 5%?
You know what is happening, maybe just to cut you short, is that the government has actually failed to provide sources of employment for Kenyans. And now you get, many Kenyans are now turning to the digital platforms to be freelancers, to be their own self-employers. And now the government has now seen that these people, maybe they are earning something from this. Now we need to also target them in our new tax punitive measures such that we can also get to them.
The betting tax is raised 12.5% to 20%. I didn't understand this. I didn't really get this.
You know, initially, when the betting industry became popular in Kenya, it was one of the sectors that was not taxed. So many people got into this because for lack of jobs and stuff, many youths got into this.
It's a jobless. When we were in college, it was called jobless corner.
Jobless corner. So when the government saw this, that actually people are reaping a lot of money from this, they now turned to this. And they now proposed, at first they proposed something 35% to these betting companies. And now they've been proposing these taxes. In the last,
the 35% is why during Matiang'i time, why they were closed?
Yes, during that time when even popular companies were trying to flee the Kenyan market. And they later came to have an agreement, they talked and things were settled. Now from that, in the financial bill of 2023, it was raised to 12.5%. Now, there is a proposal to actually even raise it to 20%. What does this mean? This means that for every money that you stake, it will be charged. And for whatever stake that you win, that will also be charged. For example, if today I stake 100 shillings, I use it for betting, then it means that the percentage that I'm going to use in betting in reality is something around 80 bob shillings. Then the 20 shillings will actually go to the government like that. So you ask yourself, what if in a situation that I use 1,000 shillings to place my bet, then it means that for every 100 shillings, it's 20 shillings, up to 1,000 shillings. Then also when I win, the government will also take 35% from this. That is the implication of this betting tax.
Gosh, I may not relate with that because I don't gamble that. I don't know really, but I just feel it's what I don't like is taking into a fortune. You know, winning is, I think, is a fortune.
It's a fortune.
It's a fortune because I think it should be, maybe it should be one-fold. It should not be my stake and then
whatever you win also your fortune too.
It should be then just bet my stake, then what I get just leave it to me.
Just leave it to me.
Or wait, if I win then
I'll even type it.
Frank, there have been a tax revolt and I want us to be fair a bit. We know that the sources of government revenue are two. If it is not taxes, then
it's borrowing.
It's borrowing. Fiscal consolidation campaign by the president is we want to live within our means. And what he's saying is that they are going to reduce the fiscal deficit by, is it 300 and something billion?
Yes.
So they will ensure, because what has been happening for the last like 10 or 15 years or so is that when we budget with a very huge budget, and when we make our collection, we don't hit the target.
We don't hit the target.
So the deficit that remains is huge. Then we end up going to borrow more. Now what the president is saying is we want to reduce that much we are borrowing. So we want to shrink our budget. And this statement has been made in public. He's come so much strong telling the public about it. But despite of a pitch that we will fund this country by our taxes and not debts, the public are not buying it. And so there is a public revolt, and that is why I want to look at this. The biggest problem is the expenditure. And I want us to look at the expenditure side. Just as we speak, the State House budget is out. I think they've demanded, I don't know how, they're saying the State House budget will be increased by 1 billion per year.
Per year, going forward.
Just the other day, there was a 2.5 billion, 2.6 billion from the office of the DP that was demanded, but I realized that they retracted and they said that it was misreported.
It was misreported.
But don't you see there is a lot of extravagance in expenditure? And that is why the public is saying, let our taxes work for us. You cannot compare Kenya with the UK. You cannot compare Kenya with the US. I was just reading something on Singapore, and much as we talk about industrialization, I think that was Singapore and Japan. Much as we talk about Singapore and industrialization, the level of life mortality, is it mortality is the death rate? No, life expectancy.
Life expectancy.
They were saying that the life expectancy has actually increased. The year is increased, has gone up because things are working out for them. don't you think that expenditure, the plunder, is the biggest problem where the public is saying no to taxation?
Yes, that is the biggest point that now, because if you're taxing me today, you're taxing me 1,000 shillings, then I should see in turn, what is this 1,000 shillings doing to me and not doing to you as the person taking it? It should be reflective of the services that you are giving me on ground. So you don't just tax me today, but then this money, all I see is wastage, pilferage, corruption, embezzlement of funds. Then in that, I'm likely to revolt because it is not helping me in any manner or in any way. So that is one of the reasons as to why I think that the public is not buying into these punitive taxation measures that are being proposed by the national government, rather. Yeah, that is the biggest problem, because even the the push by the president to have the finances, us living within our means, it means that we have to cut on unnecessary expenditures such as the wage bill and all this other budgeted corruption. But if this is not cut on, then I'm likely to revolt.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's a bad. We are not really sitting pretty well, and I kept on saying in the Bold podcast here that if we don't fix how we spend, it doesn't matter whether we collect enough here or we borrow. You know, borrowing is not a problem. We are just the reason why we are condemning the debt is because we borrow, and after borrowing, we take all that money and go and party. Do you know that we are supposed, when we borrow, we are supposed to borrow for specific projects. We should not borrow for general budget support.
It should be for a specific purpose.
It should be for a specific purpose. Do you know the Eurobond of 2014? It disappeared somewhere in the air. But if you ask, you'll be told general budget support. While the PFM Act of 2012 outlined our borrowing should be borrowing to build that road.
Yes.
Borrowing for that irrigation. Borrowing for that project. Not borrowing to come and put in the consolidated fund.
Actually, when they are writing these proposals to the bodies such as the International Monetary Fund, they state the specific purposes that they intend to achieve with this money that is borrowed. Just wait until that money hits our accounts. That is when now we take it, party on the wheels. Then also, Kevin, there is a point of poor service delivery. I think I've touched slightly a bit on it, but if you are taxing me today, then whatever you're taxing me should be reflective of the services that you are offering me. It shouldn't be that when I go to the hospital, I can't get medicine, I can't get drugs because the government is saying that the government is broke. Then why are you taxing me so highly? Even recently, you saw that Justice Maraga-led commission of inquiry into the plights of the Kenya Police Service. There was actually a recommendation that the police be given a salary increment of about 40%. Nobody's talking about it even in this fiscal year that we are planning.
It's not in the budget.
Yes, so it means that whatever they are taxing us, we are not seeing this thing, we are not feeling it on the ground.
Let me give you a good example. I think for members of this channel, no, my sister got an accident. So when I went to the hospital, from the very first point, there is a place I went and paid 1,350. That I didn't know, but that money was put there as, I don't know, consultation or entry or something. Okay, the beauty is it's paid in eCitizen. Then we went to the other second, before you go to MRI and the others, I was told to go, just within the hospital, I was told to go and buy the drug. And I'm so honest, I asked that doctor that the drug, it was not that much, I think it was around some 500 or so. But I asked, why don't I just take it? Why don't I just get the treatment? Then I would pay it once, all of it once. He told me, go and buy the drug. Why? You can go there and miss it. And the truth be told, I wish I had that receipt. I didn't get one of the drugs there.
That you are directed to go and buy?
Yes, I didn't get one. I got two. There were three. I got two. I didn't get one. So I had to go and buy it outside. What am I saying? On service delivery, things are not working.
They are not working.
The feeding program is getting scrapped. Government is scrapping that feeding program. That is a 30-year-old program that started way back in 1990.
And has been there and has been helping.
And has been helping
children.
Yes. So I think we are not putting our house in order. Frank, let me just tell you. Do you know that in this country, there is something I've just realized, and I saw it in the last financial year, and it's also in this financial year, the tax injustice. There is a tendency, and the billion-dollar advisors that are advising the president seems to be thinking in one line of thought. I want to tax the privileged so that I help the poor.
The less privileged within the society.
That our taxation has turned like a charity program. Look at what was the rationale behind housing levy. We taxed the person with the payroll.
With the payroll.
So that we build houses, and we said we want to build houses so that the poor can get job and the poor can also get some social houses. Remember, the mama mboga in the village, the mama mboga in Kibera is not paying housing levy. They're not paying. They're not paying that levy because there is no way they can be caught.
They can be caught for that.
Now, that is the same thing happening. The 2.5% that we want to tax car owners, you know the reasoning behind it? That those who have cars are already privileged.
They are the privileged in the society.
They are the privileged in the society. So we want them to pay, and I am just making a projection. This discussion is going on, it's very healthy. In the next 2 or 3 days, we will hear someone saying, wale ambao wako na gari, mbona hawataki kulipa na ni wao ndio wanajaza barabara kuliko hata watu wanatembea.
Na ni wao hata wanachafua mazingira sana.
So, the reason, the other thing bringing tax injustice, tax revolt is injustice. And I think the president must understand one thing. The middle class we are overburdening are the people that carry the burden of the people that were left behind.
That have been left behind.
The kind of burden, I was just telling you off the camera, the kind of burden, the small money that we make here goes into that school fees, that rent, that one. So as much as we are overtaxing the middle class, it is the middle class that the hustlers depend on.
Even for jobs.
Yes. Even for jobs. If you are closing the businesses of this middle class, it is these people that are employing those young people.
Yes.
Our mothers, people in the village, they are not productive as us. Our siblings are not productive as us. So I think the tax injustice should be considered. Otherwise, we are going to create a class war.
It is going to be a class war, and this is not going to have a good effect on the government.
Do you think they are going to listen to the complaint? The public participation is going on.
No.
Do you think they are going to listen to what the public is saying?
No, Kevin, you are a Kenyan. I'm a Kenyan. So these are things that have been there. In fact, if there was a draconian finance bill that came into effect that they could have listened to us, is the 2023 finance bill. Now, that one was just a burial, na sasa hii ni kama kuwekelea msumari ya mwisho kwenye jeneza sasa. So these public participation forums, they're just forums meant for people to drink tea, people to enjoy themselves, people to claim per diem allowances. They are nothing. Nobody's even going to listen to them. Because the instructions that the executive has given to the leadership majority of the parliament is that you have to pass this for us to service the economy. So these are just things to waste time and even waste time for us. Let them just go and do whatever they wish to do, because it is not going to reflect anywhere. I don't feel if it is going to reflect anywhere within our views that we are presenting to them.
And if you want to know, it's not that easy. Is Esther Passaris praised the president, saying, I like his work ethic, and is already coming out to support the finance bill. That tells you that quite a number of people have been put into the box.
There is a lot that is happening actually behind the scenes.
There is a lot that is happening behind the scene, lobbying for it to pass as it is. I want to finish up by saying what Caleb Hamise said. The Saboti member of parliament is saying, as an MP, we are going to do our best to defend you. But when it also comes to elections, can you consider changing guard? My name is Kevin Oduor.
And I'm Frank.